IST 2016. This is interviews, music reviews, and more. This is The Hotter Show.
What is up, everybody? We are rolling audio here today in episode 335 of The Hotter Show. I hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Thank you so very much for tuning in and clicking that play button on today's episode of the podcast. I have a fantastic episode for you here today. I try to every single week right here on The Hotter Show. I am chatting with my buddy MattLayn, and we have a lot of ground to cover because a lot has happened in his life since the last time that I had Matt on, and we dive in. We do not leave any stone unturned, and it was a really fun conversation, but also some really just, for lack of a better term, just dark, beautiful moments as well, talking about the struggles that he has had the last year and how just wonderful his life is right now. And I could not be more happy for my friend that he's doing so great. And we, of course, talk about his new single, 27, and the meaning behind the single, the kind of the dark, but again, beautiful and cathartic meaning behind the single. And we just have such a fun conversation, and I hope that you guys enjoy it. It was such a blast getting to chat with Matt. It always is. And this time was no exception. So stay tuned for that. Before we jump in, I got to thank everybody for their support on last week's episode of the show, in which I had a chat with my buddies Chris and Stiv from Seagrave. Let me tell you, I always love chatting with Chris. He's been on the show a bunch, but I haven't talked to Stiv in a while, so it was great getting to catch up with him. And man, Seagrave are kick-ass. Go check them out if you haven't. Go check out that interview and check out their single Butchered, because it is awesome if you are a fan of metal in general, the heavy side of metal, kind of deathcore, death metal type stuff. Go check out Seagrave because they are awesome. And big shouts again to Chris and Stiv for coming on the show. And thank you so very much for tuning in to this episode, my chat with MattLayn. Let's get into it. We got my buddy, Mr. MattLayn, back on the Hotter Show. What's up, man? How are you? Good to see you.
Bro, every time I talk to you, I just have the biggest smile on my face. It feels like it's been literal ages, man. When was the last time we talked? Because the last time we talked, I was in a way different situation.
Yeah, that was, let me check, because I think it was the showcase for the EP.
Yep, that was the last one.
It wasn't that long ago, but it was long enough ago, especially with the kind of the way the world works these days. It might as well have been 10 years ago.
It feels like it's been 10 years,
you know what I'm saying?
Honestly.
It was it back before episode 300? No,
I think it was right around
305.
Yep, it was right around.
So that was September. Holy shit.
That does make sense. Yeah, I feel like, I was about a month into living in London. So that does make sense.
Right. Yeah, you had just moved, and we had this really, I had so many people message me about that episode, man. They were just like,
what, am I okay?
Well, no, it was like, hey, it sounds like you can tell you weren't really in a great place, but you were so open about that. And it was such a, it was like one of my buddies, he was like, dude, that was a beautiful episode, really cathartic. And I remember you said to me after we got off the recording, you were like, fuck, I feel like I just bared my soul. And you were like, that was really cathartic for me. And I was like, that's how people took it. Because it's a very,
No, it was, you know what? It was honestly just because, I may have briefly talked about it, but I had the worst few months of my life happen. And it kicked off with this 36-hour period of absolute chaos. 3 very drastic life things happened. And everything just kept spiraling down and down and down and down. And then, we did the episode right after I moved to London. And I was just in such a mess of a place. And also the people that reached out to you about the episode, thank you. I'm glad that you got something out of that episode, because I certainly did. And at the end of the day, always use your issues for content, because that's the great way to get audiences.
Well,
That's why TikTok does so well for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying, but I think it was more, they were like, hey, like we could really feel what you were saying and the emotion, and like it really lent itself so well to that EP, right? Like I think it was kind of like it went hand in hand, I guess.
Yeah, I was just at such a place. I was bottled up. I don't really have like, and I'll be open about this. I don't really have like a close circle of friends that I can just like reach out to at any time. Like, because I keep my circle very fucking small, and it's just because, well, a huge part of it's just the industry's jaded me a lot, and dealing with certain people. It's forced me to kind of like keep a lot of people at an arm's length, and like I keep some people more on the inside, but still like at a distance. Like the only people in my circle are like my dad and my girlfriend, and that's really it. Because there's part of me that feels like I can't be myself around. Like I can't be like this. What you're seeing now it's me, but it's also not me. And the issue I've had is it's trying to find that balance. And at that point, that conversation, I just needed to get something out, because of like I felt like I was having a conversation with a homie, and we were talking about a very personal piece of content that I put out, and everything just came out in that conversation, I felt, because it needed to. And after that conversation, it kind of I took about a week to reflect on it, and I listened to it back, and it really was a beautiful conversation. Like it's like on, and I'm not just saying that blow smoke up our asses. I'm saying that because I did feel the genuineness in that conversation. And with after that, like the next month and a bit were kind of weird, like getting adjusted and all that. The funny thing is, the next month after that, in October, I met my girlfriend, who is my girlfriend now. We live together, and I met her in October, and then we officially got together in November 19th. I remembered. Wait, hold on. Let me actually double check that.
Attaboy.
I'm going to be in trouble.
Sometime in November.
Yeah, I hold on. She's not going to watch this anyway. She doesn't watch any of my content. And honestly, I think I prefer that, to be completely honest. Yep, I got it right. So if you do watch it, you got it right.
Be the one time.
The one time. Imagine I got
you. We're like, you didn't even get it right, asshole.
Listen, that's why I write things down, man. I can barely remember yesterday. I don't remember yesterday. It's just because I'm living life such in the moment. And I mentioned this before we started, just I was doing some health stuff earlier in the year, and it kind of shifted my perspective on mortality, especially, and just like how finite life really can be, because you don't know when you're going to go. And it's just about, I've learned in the past few months I have to accept I can't control a lot of things. I can only really control my actions and my choices, and I just kind of have to let life roll out the way it is. Because from a young age, I always had this thing where I just always wanted to be in control of every situation. That's not possible. But yeah, now I'm just kind of, after I put this new single out and just my life started going way positive. Like right now, things are the best they've been in probably 3 years, genuinely, for me. And I could not be more over the moon. It's a really nice time right now, and I'm glad we're having this conversation now. So after that last one in September.
Well, I'm glad, brother, because like I always keep tabs kind of on what's going on in that, and like like I said earlier, it was a really powerful piece of content that was made, and it was my honor to be able to provide that. But like now we look ahead and we can look back on that, and it's like, hey, that was a really interesting time in your life, and like that's always going to be there as kind of like a way to be like, hey, I need to get this stuff off my chest, and here we go. And then you can kind of look at that. I guess it's almost like a timestamp, right? Not that you'd necessarily want to, but if for some reason you're ever like, I find that myself, like sometimes I'll go back, and if there's an episode I know that like something was going on that was like not great in my life at the time or whatever, I'll like go back and be like, man, listen to that asshole talk about like whatever I was talking about. And it'll take me back to that. And I'm like, is shit really that bad right now? Like it was bad. It was really bad here. And like, I guess it's one of those things where it's like, I always try to look at things where it's like, we can only go up from here, right? So sometimes I like to reflect on life and just be like, shit was not great here. So it's like, let's Just because I had a bad day doesn't mean that life's the shits or whatever,
Yeah, and that's kind of the beautiful thing, and I think that's also why I lean so much into making content and also just being as personal as I can, whether it be in the music I write or like these podcasts or even on stuff like TikTok or whatever platform I'm using. I, in a weird way, I kind of like, well, especially like an app like TikTok, because it's so easy to make content. And the thing is, I will go back and laugh at myself because I think I'm hilarious. And I also make it very clear on the TikTok, I'm doing this for me. Whether you dig it or not, it's completely irrelevant because I'm still going to do this shit whether you watch it or not. And so I can go back and like if a TikTok flops, because TikTok loves and hates me. So like they'll give me a big boost. Like I just hit my first 2 million video this past year, like a couple months back. But then I'll get like shadow banned immediately, like a week after that. It's the weirdest dynamic, but I love being able to actually kind of correlate things to certain time periods and like I said, have those timestamps. And I'm just really happy. And I'm really happy, but that's the thing. I'm really happy and I don't really know how to describe it, but there's a saying that I've always used and I started using it back in the day when I started managing groups and stuff like that. It's onwards and upwards, kind of like I almost sort of kind of like an escalator. So like you're going up at like a steady pace as opposed to like an elevator, because in an elevator you can go back up and down very easily, but an escalator, it's always that way, onwards and upwards.
I think that's just kind of the best way to be, right? Like it's just sometimes it can be hard, but it's like, especially like everything, like the shit that we have lived through just in general as people the last like 3 fucking years. It's like sometimes I just like, I hear people get so mad about stuff, and I'm just like, guys, like, fuck, man, like we're still here, like, yeah, some stuff sucks right now, but it's like, hey, at least we can leave our houses now. Like, that's cool. Like, I always try to, I don't know. It's almost, someone said to me once, he said, sometimes hanging out with you is like, it's almost like you're running for the mayor of the city you're in. And I was like, what do you mean? They're like, it's like, like you'll see some, like I'll be out and I'll see somebody. Like I was with a buddy of mine and I saw someone and I went over and I was all blah, blah, blah. Hey, bud, I said, he's just like, it's like you're fucking running for mayor sometimes. Like, what are you doing? Like, what? Like, because it's just everything. Like, I always try so hard, especially on social media and stuff. I'm just like, oh, hey guys, like positive, blah, blah. And it's like, I try to force myself to be that way now, even on days where I don't want to be. Because it's just like, you know what? Like, I got a good fucking life. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have much to bitch or complain about, So I try to force myself to be in that mindset some days.
Well, you're able to do that because you actually have perspective, and a lot of people just don't. The past 3 years has shown us just how, I'm going to use this word, it's going to come across as crass, but it is this word, ignorant people are, because, and this isn't even related to any issue, so don't fucking go there. It's literally just about people not being able to take a step back and look at things from an outside perspective, and the thing is, like the past few years, I was especially in the situation I was in because, and the other thing is, and not to bring it back to this and freak some people out, but it's the concept of mortality. Do you not realize you're here for a limited time? Do you not realize that you could literally not wake up tomorrow? Don't you want to enjoy whatever time you have left, whether it's a little or a lot? Because when I'm at that point where I'm passing on, or whatever term you want to use, in those last moments, I want to be able to look back at my life and be like, yeah, you know what? Through the ups and downs and the wins and the losses, the mistakes and the choices I made, I overall had a good life. And that's not really hard to have. It's just getting up and willing to try and doing things that make you happy and finding a balance, because you know this, like we had to reschedule this podcast. It's about that work-life balance. And I'm in a position now, thankfully, like with the job I have and the relationship I'm in and just having my life turn around. It feels like from September to now, dude, it's been a complete 180. I have not been this steady, like mentally, in quite a long time. And now I'm thankful for every day. I wake up, I'm like, oh, I get to do this another day. Even if I know I'm going to have like a long, shitty day at work and like have a bunch of meetings and do a bunch of projects and stuff, that's fine. The fact that I get to wake up and go do that, and wake up next to my beautiful girlfriend and start doing new things like streaming on Twitch or doing the podcast or whatever it is, like that is so cool that I'm able to do that. And I absolutely love it. And I encourage everyone to, like, you can do the things that make you happy. It just takes a bit of work. You can find that balance. You can achieve that goal. It's just putting yourself in the right mind frame and actually going for it and just pushing through. Because, yeah, life's fucking shit. We all know that. It's just about how are you going to deal with it. Like, I'm really a proponent of chaos here. Like, the world is just swirling in a storm of shit. And you just gotta kind of, like, wipe the goggles of shit off your face and be like, oh, okay, I gotta see that's a nice tree. That's a nice tree. I'm gonna go to that tree.
I kind of want to do some streaming.
Keep it simple, stupid. I tell everyone this, and it's the only way to live. Sorry, that was a rant, but my God, people.
No, I agree. And like, I say it all the time on the show. Like, it's just, man, like, listen, if there's something you want to do it. Don't, oh, well, I'd really like to try this, or, I really want to do this, and I'm not talking about like, I'd love to try Italian food. It's like, no. Like, I'm talking about like,
if you haven't tried Italian food, you should try Italian food.
I mean,
like, what do you do? What do y'all do?
Horrible fucking example. But my point being, you try Italian food. What the fuck, Harder? That's what you came up with? God damn it.
Listen, hey, I bet some people haven't. Genuinely
real Italian food, maybe. Okay.
Yeah, maybe real Italian food. Not Eastside Mario's. That's not real. I just went there.
I mean, I ain't mad at that
shit.
Unlimited bread and salad sometimes, though.
The bread and salad are lit. Everything else is shit. I literally had a pasta from there that was a third oil. I legitimately could not eat it. I got so sick from it because of how much oil was in that. And Eastside, step your shit up. You guys used to be so great, and now you're cheap, but you're charging more because of inflation and just because you're assholes.
Eastside's, listen.
Fuck you, Eastside, man.
Listen, it's your boy TJ. Listen, I used to hit you guys up all the time. Me and the wife would come by, and I'd get the pizza. Y'all would come by with a little Parmesan gimmick and be like, you want Parmesan on your pizza? I'd be like, fuck yeah, I do. You bring me all my salad and all my bread, and I'd be so happy. The last time we went to an Eastside Mario's, I couldn't even finish the pizza. And listen, when TJ can't finish the pizza, it's bad pizza. And I was so upset. Step your shit up.
And there's no such thing as bad pizza, too. So the fact that it's bad pizza is
how do you mess that up?
Devastating.
I'm not a New Yorker. I'm not going to be like, you call this pizza? Like, it's just
Hold on. How do we go from talking about people not
I don't know.
Having perspective and mortality to eat fuck you Eastside Mario's. This is why I love conversations with you, genuinely. Because that's how our conversations go. It goes from like serious deep shit to, you know what, fuck this Canadian Italian chain.
Fuck Eastside Mario's. To wrap up to go back for a second to just wrap up the positivity and stuff. It's like, listen, if there's something you want to do, folks, go for it. If there's something that you want to do in your life and you're putting it off for whatever reason, understand that you are on a rock floating through space with a lot of other rocks. And you are one single little speck of life on this giant rock. So get over your whatever reasons you're holding back on trying to do the thing you want to do and fucking go for it. And then come on the podcast and let's talk about it. Rock and roll.
Exactly. It all comes back to making us content. We're looking for ways to make us content.
Content. You know I need content. Talking about content, the last time that you and I had like a full actual conversation, you had just started dipping your toes into TikTok very slowly. And so I got to ask about this. So is it just like because like I've completely gotten off of TikTok now. Like I don't know. I can't do it anymore.
It's a wasteland.
But the wife always sends me stuff, so it's fine. I keep up on it a little bit, but like, so you do a lot of the reaction stuff. That's kind of you do like the reaction. You zoom in. Yeah. It's a fun little thing. But like, was it literally just one day you were like, hey, that's a dumb video, I'm going to react to it? Is that like literally
Pretty much,
how it
yeah.
all started?
So with the TikTok shit, okay, so let me say this point first. TikTok is the stupidest thing ever, but it's so goddamn good at the same time for so many different reasons. For me, I don't know, I missed the boat for Vine, and the idea of Vine intrigued me quite a lot. Like the concept of you have 6 seconds to make a video, okay, what can you put into it? Like that really intrigued me and kind of started rolling my brain with the content creation side of things. And then TikTok came around, and legit, I was just like, all right, let me download this thing and start trying it out a little bit. And then I saw this feature they have called Stitch, which is like you can take a clip out of a video and then add your own video to it. And I was like, okay, that's kind of funny. So I could take a clip and react to it by making some sort of random comment, stupid joke, blatant insult towards a content creator. Well, to specific content creators, which TikTok put me in the no-no corner for. But it's fine. It was justified, and they should fucking apologize for it. But it's fine. It's TikTok. It started as a joke, and it still is the biggest joke I have going. And it's it's my stupidest platform. And I tell everyone, anytime I do any sort of interview, any conversation I have with anyone in the industry, it's my stupidest platform, but it's my biggest platform. And it's because I don't try on it really, and it's stupid. Because realistically, it takes me 2 to 5 minutes to make one video. And the thing with TikTok is, at any point, for a multitude of reasons, your video just connects with some sort of audience. TikTok's algorithm finds something in it that hits. It can just blow up overnight. Like that 2 million video I hit earlier this year, it hit 2 million in like 5 days. Like that's absurd. That's fucking absurd. And like that's the thing. And it just bounces your followers up absurd numbers. Like when that video hit, I grew 10,000 followers, not even 10, yeah, like 10,000 followers in like a day and a half. It's just anyone can go on, anyone can break on it. Anyone. Yeah, I only have like 25K followers, but that's 25K followers still. Like it's not a massive number, but it's also not a small number. I don't understand why I have it genuinely, because I feel like I'm not putting myself into it really, because it's just stupid shit. It's stupid jokes, it's stupid puns, it's dead memes. But for some reason people vibe with it. Like I genuinely don't get it, and I make it very clear in the content, especially when I do TikTok live streams, that I'm just flying by the seat of my pants for it. I'm not really trying. I'm just having fun with it, and I think maybe that's part of the reason why I got a little traction on it. It's because it's very blatantly obvious I don't give a shit, and I'm not doing it for some sort of ulterior motive. Like I'm not trying to become a TikTok star. I'm just being me and talking shit. And just, I have a platform to talk shit on, which is also kind of what the podcast is as well. It's an opportunity just to be open and kind of be honest with your audience in a way. And that's the thing. I don't know, man. It rattles my mind every time I talk about this shit, just because I get it, but I don't, in terms of just how it works or why my account is in the position it currently is. Or why this video does 2 million, but the next one does like 300. It makes no sense.
It's a crapshoot at best. Like that is
my profile. It is a crapshoot.
It's a crapshoot at best. A crapshoot at best.
That might be my new TikTok bio. That's actually quite tempting. This is a crapshoot of content.
This is a crapshoot. But so answer me this question, because I've had this conversation with a couple people who have some traction on TikTok. Do you find that there's crossover from TikTok to your other content? Do you notice, so when you had that 2 million view video and you had all those followers, did you notice a jump in any of your other content because of it?
Not huge jumps.
Okay.
Like, definitely not huge jump. The thing is, with a video that goes viral, the actual like percentage of people that follow your content, it's not a huge ratio. Because like that 2 million view video, I got maybe 10 to 11,000 followers from.
Right.
Think about that. 10,000 out of 2 million. decided to follow.
Which is crazy. And then maybe 5 of them might have been like, oh, who's this guy?
Exactly.
What's his deal? Oh, he has a podcast.
I see, honestly, when I do TikTok live streams, that's when I really see it. Because then I see which of the followers are actually going to come on stream and watch with me. And so now I recently started streaming on Twitch. And what I do was I stream myself on TikTok first for a bit, like a good chunk of time, and try and encourage people to come over and actually join the stream. And that's worked to a degree. And that also comes back to TikTok is they have a box of things they approve of, a huge fucking gray area, which it depends on their mood or how much it's reported or this or the other. And then they have the shit that's, that obviously should be banned. And this gray area is so massive. And that's where I live. I don't live necessarily in that box because it depends on the content and how people interact with it. This thing is like some videos before the 2 million video, my biggest video was me sitting on a toilet naked in a bathroom talking about Pinocchio, a mascot character at Disney World, sitting on a sword. That's legit. In that video, I did a re-upload of it. The first one was like 850K of it, and then TikTok did a thing where it's like, oh, repost your biggest video. And the repost went up to 1.1 million. So A, I hit 1 million on a fucking repost, which is hilarious in itself. And 2, it's of me just saying the most absurd thing that came to my head at 8:15 in the morning. I remember that because I remember that whole day specifically because I was delivering for Amazon at that point. It was just a big ass day. But it was just, that's what I mean, dude. Why the fuck does that video go viral? And then and then another video. It's just, if TikTok, if they see it, people are connecting with it, then they'll push it to bigger audiences.
Right.
But if you're in that little square of TikTok approves, you're good. And the people that are primarily in that box are content creators that are generating the app money.
Or if you make fart videos.
Or if you make
shout outs to fucking Survival Town.
This is my biggest issue with TikTok and itself. I'm not afraid to talk about it. I can talk about it on TikTok, but I'm very limited because sometimes TikTok like to put me in the no corner when I point things out. And it's happened 4 separate times. And a couple of those times there was major controversy going on with some online creators. I'm not going to say who because I don't need people bothering me about it. I'm calling out these creators based on shit that's legitimately happened, that's proven, that's fucked up, and I fully acknowledge that this shit's fucked up. And I say to people, why the fuck are we... and the content's basically, why the fuck is this okay? Like a recent scenario, and I'll talk about the scenario, and some people will know what I'm talking about just based on the scenario. A content creator got in an excavator and spun a dude around hanging by a fucking rope on this excavator. And excavators, if you know anything about them, they have emergency brakes if you're spinning it too fast. It slammed stop. The guy on the string slammed his head into the arm of the excavator. A test came back. He cracked his head open. He was like massive head injury. This dude was 2 inches from death. The doctor said, if this was 2 inches lower, you would have died. And guess what's happened to that content creator? Absolutely fucking nothing. He's completely fine, still making money, lots of brand deals, millions of view videos, huge supporting audience. He nearly murdered a fucking dude. Yet the people who call him out on it, they get pushed back from the fan bases, and that's my other issue is these toxic fucking fan bases. Why can't we just look at a scenario for what it is? This dude nearly murdered someone, but because he's a big famous influencer that a lot of people seem to still like, he could just move on with his life. And this is not me advocating for cancel culture. This is me going, why the fuck was this dude not charged? Like, that's a criminal offense. If that dude, what would happen if that guy actually died? Would he have gotten off? That's a manslaughter charge, at the least. Sorry, fuck. That's just something that's bothering me.
No, I get it. No,
on a platform like TikTok, I gotta finish this. Sorry, I'm sorry. I just gotta.
No, go for it.
And my issue and this is my biggest issue with TikTok. They will block your videos. They will block your fucking videos and shadow ban you and just put you on the no step, as I call it, for minimum 2 weeks to a month to however long they feel like based on whatever the content is. And it's for two reasons. One, it's because the toxic fan base is mass report a video they don't agree with, even though I'm talking about something that's literally videotaped and on the internet. Two, I'm talking about someone that makes TikTok money. And they don't want anyone in the negative light. It's like this whole Warner Brothers Ezra Miller situation. For the longest time, Warner Brothers is just sitting in the corner. Shh, we don't talk about Ezra and all the stupid shit he's doing. But recently, Warner Brothers had a change in their president because they just got bought out by fucking Discovery. Did you know about this? Discovery bought Warner Brothers. I have no
idea about anything you're talking about, so no.
I'm on the internet too much. It's wild.
I'm on it enough.
Discovery Channel bought Warner Brothers recently.
I didn't even know that.
Does that sound weird?
I mean, yeah. Why the fuck is Discovery buying?
You know why? You think it'd be a lot of people think it would be the other way around because Warner Brothers seems like such a big media, whatever, right? Mm-hmm. But fucking Discovery comes out of nowhere, buys it. Anyway, that aside's the point. TikTok's great if you like to sit in their box and live there, the safe corner, and just do the stuff that they're okay with. Or you can try and be yourself and do whatever the shit you want to do and live in the massive gray area with probably 98% of the other TikTokers that do well but not do well at the same time.
Yeah, this Ezra Miller dude's fucking psychopath.
Yeah,
I didn't know any of this, and I don't even know who he was. I was like, oh, yeah, he was the Flash, and I'm like, no, he's not. Not to me, he isn't. Well, but that's a conversation for another time. But yeah, apparently this guy's a psychopath.
No, he's a legitimate psychopath, and Warner Brothers for years did absolutely nothing. Only recently, because there's a new takeover management from Discovery, that they're actually doing shit. Like they're canceling a bunch of projects. They're trying to draw back because the studios are overspending, and now they're actually dealing with Ezra Miller, and there talks about him getting replaced. The issue is there's the Flash movie, the new one that was supposed to come out this year. It's done. It's in the bag. It's $200 million spent. And then all this Ezra shit comes out. And then the dilemma is, do they still put out the movie? They're going to put out the movie because they spent $2 million on it.
Oh, yeah. They're going to put it out regardless.
He's not going to be on the fucking promo campaign. You know that.
They'll just cut him out of it. Yep. I think that was a thing. I recently got really into BoJack Horseman.
Oh, I just finished it. About that show, dude. It is the best fucking TV show ever, legitimately.
I think it's one of the best from our generation for sure, hands down, bar none. And it took me so long to get into it, but there was literally a seat like there. So you'll know what I'm talking about when I say like with the whole. I think it's like the third last episode where it's like, oh, we're gonna cut you out of horsing around so we can re-upload it. And it's like, I was like, that's so dumb. But then I'm like, oh yeah, that could really be a thing. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, so TJ, listen, people like the Harder Show content, but now that you're canceled, we're gonna go ahead and just cut you out of everything you've done. And I'd be like, okay, like whatever, you know.
Yeah, but that's what I mean, man. It's BoJack Horseman. So when the show was like in its prime while it was still on there, the last season obviously it kind of became more of a cult following, I feel. But like the first few seasons when it was literally number one on every fucking media company's Netflix list as the best show on Netflix, beating every single show. And I'm talking Variety, Rolling Stone, like I'm talking major media outlets. BoJack Horseman was number one for years on all these lists for a fucking reason. Yeah, it's an animated show, but the writing and the performances and the storytelling of that show go into places that not a lot of shows have been / can maintain. Because the content they talk about is absolutely psychotic sometimes.
Oh,
but
fuck
they do it in a way that's so genuinely human that it makes people understand perspective. It's phenomenal. It's one of the best shows. I'm getting a BoJack tattoo this year, legitimately, because that show fucking changed my that's one of the things that changed my perspective. Honestly, BoJack. It sounds stupid, but it's so fucking true.
And I can get it. Like even me, I'm watching it just going like I remember I was watching it and it's like, oh, well, this is going to be resolved. And it's like, no, it's fucking not. Like, nope, it's just like, oh, well, that's that. And it's like, wait, what? It's like, because that's what life is like sometimes, homies. Everything can't just be wrapped up in a nice even how the series ended, you know? Like some things, I got what I wanted out of it for the most part. I was like, okay. Because I was like, I want BoJack to be fucking, at least have some peace, you know? But it's like, there's so much that didn't get resolved for him. And it's like, fuck, okay.
And that's how life is.
That's it, right.
I
exactly.
legitimately, I'll say this doesn't happen genuinely, but by season 3, I was genuinely convinced they were going to wrap this show up by having him like off himself.
I thought so too. Yeah.
Just because the trajectory of that show kept going the way it was. And eventually, I'm not going to spoil it, but basically he doesn't do that. But the ending, I felt was perfect.
Yes, I agree.
It got the resolutions for certain things, but it left you feeling questioning what you just watched or how you felt. And that's the thing. A lot of content and media is so focused on that completion, that satisfaction, because that's the human instinct of us. It's craving that completion, wanting that resolution, the 100%. That's not how life works. Something I've said for years is you can never be 100% happy. You just can't. It's not possible. You can
There's
be
always something you're going to be wanting.
It's always that little thing. And if you actually get to the point where you don't want anything anymore, that's when you stop. And I have a saying for certain guys, and this counts for guys like you as well. When a shark stops swimming, it dies. It's just true. And I've never met anyone that's 100% happy. Maybe if you're like a billionaire and you literally have no problems, perfect health, everyone in your life that treats you exactly how you should be treated, and there's no like that you have a perfect life. No, they fucking don't. No one does. It's not possible. Life isn't perfect. Perfect is made up bullshit by the fucking man. Made up by the fucking man.
By the fucking man. Listen, the man said I was happy, and I said, fuck you.
I think I'm so all over the place this episode. I can't wait to watch this back and just be like, what the fuck am I doing?
No, this is fantastic. I knew it was going to be like this, right? But like, one thing, just because we're talking about BoJack, like, man, I think it was season 5, which I feel like we can talk about that a little bit because it's not like necessarily spoily type shit. But like when all this shit happened with Sarah Lynn, which I saw that coming from a mile away. Oh. But like it was when when he started seeing the planetarium stars when he'd look at alcohol and shit like that. I was like, that started getting like, I was like, fuck, that is. Because I remember I was watching it with the wife, and like I was a little high at the time, and I'm watching it just like, holy fuck, that is some of the best writing I've ever seen in a show. Just that one moment where like he looks at it, and it's like, and he doesn't even want to look at it, and like that's how affected he is by this and the PTSD from it. It's just like, fuck. But anyway, yeah,
one of the most heart-wrenching moments in that show for sure, but. There's one, and I'm getting this moment tattooed on me just because it relates to an episode, and in my honest opinion, it is genuinely the greatest television show episode of any show ever. Genuinely. And it's the episode, I don't know I'm going to say the title of it, and I feel like you might know kind of what it is. The free churro episode. Okay, so basically the entire episode is like a 22-minute monologue, essentially. It's BoJack like monologuing about life.
Is it at the funeral?
Yes.
Okay, yes. Okay, I got you.
That episode is possibly the greatest piece of content ever, just because the writing in it was superbly perfect.
The roller coaster of emotions.
Yes, and it was the most heart-wrenching, funny, scary, confusing episode of anything I've ever watched, but then the ending moment was possibly one of the hardest I've ever laughed at anything, and I'm literally tearing up from laughter right now because the ending is so perfect when you get to the end of it. And that show and that episode just fucked me up, but in all the right ways, and it just forced me to look at life in such a different way. And like I sometimes I think about like the person I was. Well, it's 2022, like 2013, is when I really started feeling my life start to shift. Like it was like starting to be near the tail end of high school, but I was still like, still a kid, and I still am a kid, and I'm just learning every day. But just that was when I felt like there was a progression that started from where I was to where I am now. It's absurd how much people can change in a matter of even just the short change now since the last episode we did to now, just how I've changed, and and you've had so many changes as well in your life in such a short time. But that's the beautiful thing about life in a way. It's that chaos, but it's a chaos of emotion and roller coaster, and that's what that churro funeral episode did for me. It showed me just how chaotic someone's life can be, and it's allowed me to look at others in a much more empathetic way, because we're all dealing with something, whether it's the slightest inconvenience to hypothetically a terminal illness or something just of that caliber. None of us chose to be here, yet we're all here, and we have to deal with it. And it's the biggest question of, who the fuck signed me up for this bullshit?
And it's like, how do we deal with this? What's going on?
How?
Like,
Yes. How?
Yeah. How, and what do we do to make ourselves
below
happy?
How we deal with this shit?
Yeah. How do we pay bills? How do we fucking? Well, wait a minute.
How do we adult?
How do we adult? Listen, I'm 30 years old. I'm still trying to figure out how to fucking adult.
My dad's 72. He still doesn't know what he wants to do when he grows up. Genuinely.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, sorry. Nope, 72. He's turning 73 this year. But that's what I mean. I still feel like I'm a kid mentally. I was looking in the mirror the other day, and I'm starting to see like small wrinkles. Like my hands are getting more veiny. My feet are getting more veiny. And I'm just looking in the mirror, and I'm dealing with some health shit now, and like not serious, but just shit. And I'm looking in the mirror going, fuck me. And I think back 10 years ago because I just turned 26. And I'm like, when I was 16, I'm like, fuck me, how 10 years does make a difference. And I still think, and I'm still sitting here going, I'm still the same kid, and I'm trying to be an adult, but I don't know how, and I'm just fucking bricking it. It's fine.
Sometimes I like to do this fun thing where I was like look in the mirror myself a while, and I'll just be like, what the fuck happened to you? Like, what is going on?
Straight up.
I'll look at pictures of myself when I was 15, and I'm like, what happened to you? Like, what?
Have you started seeing any features of like your father or your mother like in you as you've gotten older?
I mean, yeah, for sure. Like, I just shaved my beard recently, and like, when I shaved, come back to
that because I have some fucking comments about that. But you continue, please. I have some comments about the beard, but it's
okay. Fine. So I like when I shaved it off, I was kind of like, oh, okay, right on. Like there's my face. Yep, all right. And I was looking at myself in the mirror the other day, and I was like, huh, like there's my father. All right, right on. Like, and I you know what? It's funny. I did like an age app thing a couple of years ago, and I sent it to my mom, and I said, who do I look like? And she said, your father in 20 years. And I said, there you go.
I did the same thing, and I looked pretty much identical to my dad, which is weird because like a lot of people said I had my mom's features. But I think because she's passed, I think a lot of people are more associating with me and my fucking dad. Jesus Christ. You can hear that?
Oh, there it is. Just partying it up. Whatever, fuck it.
The thing is, the apartment building I'm living in is fucking great, but goddamn, there's like an emergency. It's hit or miss. It depends on the day. Like some days there's just like 500 emergencies. Some days there's like 3. But just because I'm near a major road in London, it's busy.
I thought you meant in the apartment building there's like 500 emergencies a day. I was like, Jesus, what's going on over there? Is everyone all right?
Oh, just constant stabbings.
Just constant.
Stabbings.
No, that's up here.
Pretty chill, actually. But yes, what were you saying? Sorry.
Oh, no, I've pretty much done my point. But yeah, no, I do understand what you're saying. Like you see features and oh, Jesus, excuse me. That's all staying in, by the way. That was funny.
Oh, sorry. That reminds me.
But like I'll sometimes just be like, oh, you're totally your like I know as I'm getting older, I see more of my father in me with how I do things and how I handle things. And, you know, I've always been seeing a lot of my mother and myself, but like, as I'm getting older, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm my father's son. Like there's no fucking denying, you know, who my old man is, you know?
It's so weird, genuinely, like seeing my dad and myself, because like the thing is, when I moved to London, I lived with him for about 8 months, just like before I get myself back on my feet. 'Cause when I got to London, it was basically just a hard reset. Like I just basically had to restart shit from the ground up. Well, to a certain extent, like depends on what it was, but like a lot of shit in terms of just digging my heels into a new city, getting myself grounded, getting myself associated, and just all this other things. And then in that 8 months I lived with my dad, just I picked up an absurd amount of his mannerisms because I don't know why, I just do for certain things. And then, but the other thing is just also seeing how different we've become, because my dad before my mom died was a completely different person almost to who he is now. And after that happened to me, and I was 19 when she passed, and just seeing who I am now at 26, completely different in terms of almost everything. Very few things are the same. I've changed so much, and I've grown up. I feel like I've grown up quite a lot, and I know that's kind of a cliche to say, like, oh, I feel so mature and so grown up. First off, fuck you for judging me. Second off, it is what it is. I judge myself all the time, so don't worry about it. I forgive you. It's I'm a roller coaster, but that's what I mean. It's seeing how different my dad and I are now versus, like, we're the same in so many ways, but just completely night and day and a lot of other things. And it's just fascinating how human development can develop your certain beliefs, views, opinions, whatever it is, based on the environment. Because I genuinely thought about this the other day. Like, I moved to Oshawa when I was 18. Like, I moved out to go to college when I was 18, and I stayed in Oshawa for 7 years. And I think about, like, how different would I have been if I ended up going to school in Toronto, or going to school in London, or going to school elsewhere. How much of my life would be different? How much of my life would be the same? Would I still be the same stupid fuck whatever I was when I was 19, or would I be similar to now? Would I be completely different? Would I be the same as that? Like, it's all these questions and all these things. I love to just sit and ponder life, because there's no one that can give me 100% certainty on anything. And it's fun just to sit down and theorize it. Some people view it as a waste of life. I view that as kind of just looking at different perspectives and theorizing. And in a way, it also, by doing that, it develops the choices I make going forward. Because when you give yourself those times to think about life and think about choices and think about the mistakes you made, and actually absorbing the lesson and applying it to your life and acknowledging the mistakes you've made and all that kind of stuff, it's amazing. It's such an amazing and freeing feeling. But also, a lot of people don't do that, and more people need to do that. Because, and I go back to this constantly, life's too fucking short to not just feel free, at least to some extent, you know?
Yeah. And like, there are times where I even think about stuff like that. Like I never went to college or anything, right? And like, there are times where I think, man, like, I grew up in a small hick town. Like, what if I went to, like, I almost went to Loyalist for radio broadcasting, and I think back to that a lot sometimes I do. And I'm like, man, like, how different would my life be? You know, I would have flunked out for sure, 100%. I'm not a student, like, you know, just I that's why I don't regret it or anything. But it's like, I go, man, like, how different would my life be? Would I be where I am today if I made that choice, or if I, you know, me and the wife wanted to move to Peterborough a little sooner than we did, we wanted to move sooner than we did, I should say. And it's like, hey, if we moved a little sooner, what would that have looked like? If I didn't get the job on the school board when I did, how would that look like? Sometimes I like to think about that. Just like, man, I wonder how different things would be. You know, I like to think that I'd still wind up in the spot I'm in, but it's like, you never really know, right?
Yeah, and that's kind of the fun part of it. It's wondering where you are, but it's also accepting where you are, and appreciating what you have and what you don't have, because and kind of goes back to that positivity point. You especially like on all your media and stuff like that, you always have an air of positivity to you. I can't relate personally, because I quite find myself living in a nice negative bubble of my own bullshit. But it's so good to see these people like you, and of course you have your problems and you have your life issues, as we all do. You know.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. Some days,
dropped off your beard, I'm still questioning why, and that personally hurt me, but it's fine. And let me go into this. Okay, why did you do this to me?
Okay, so here's
this happened to me.
How made mistakes, get nowhere to run. I thought you were gonna
So
join
you're
me.
acknowledging it was a mistake then?
No, not at all. No. So okay, so here's the thing. So I have always kept my beard short, right? That's always been my thing, and my beard grows really weird.
Mm-hmm.
So when I grow my beard, there's this little part I have in my beard that just doesn't fucking grow. No matter what I do, it's just my genetics. It's not a thing. So as my beard got longer, if you look really closely at my beard when it was longer, it was basically just like two parts that would like go out like this. It would like kind of like come out like almost like a mutton chop type deal.
Like a
and there'd be this little area. Sides, yeah. And it's like, I always hated that. And I was always so fucking insecure about it all the time. So for me, growing the beard out was more of a, hey, I wonder what would happen if I just leave it for a year and don't really touch it. And I mean, I did like having a longer beard, but it started, my whole thing was the reason I got rid of it, contrary to what some people apparently thought. Number one, it was getting really fucking annoying living life with a beard like that. Like, just no matter what I did, it was like, oh, I want to drink coffee. Oh, well, fuck, that's going to be an issue. Oh, I want to eat food of any kind. Oh, that's going to be an issue. And it was just like, you know, I go to zip up my fucking jacket and my beard get caught in it. Like, it's just like, I was like, man, like when it starts becoming a hassle, it's like, okay, this is just, I have mad respect for my bearded brothers out there who rock the long beards. Cause it's like, I got to the point where I was, and it was like, fuck this. This is a lot of work, but I feel more comfortable with the shorter beard. Not as short as it is right now. You know, we're going to grow it out a bit, but also it was, you know, we're coming into the summer. The school I work at doesn't have fucking air conditioning. So I was like, I'm not dealing with that all fucking summer. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, I had a lot of people message me about that, and they were like, dude, what the fuck? Like,
well, I could imagine. Yeah, I was tempted to message you, but I knew we were going to end up having the conversation soon anyway. So I figured I'd call you out in person, or in video. But the thing is, you look fresh. I'm not going to lie, it does look good. Honestly, you could pull it off the way it is. Like, I like the hair right now, the beard. It's looking sleek. You are looking sleek. And I get it, because like, I can't lie. I don't really have patch. Some of us are just blessed with good genetics. But
yeah. No, you have a great, I'd fucking kill to have your beard. I really would.
I get that comment quite a lot. And a lot.
Especially the stash.
The thing is, like I started shaving when I was like 13.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was shaving, I had a lot of peach fuzz like everywhere. And so I think because I was stimulating those areas since I was like 13, 12, whatever, I think that's what kind of like made the follicles. I could be speaking completely out of my ass, because I know nothing about, you know, anatomy or, you know, human body or science. Science was my worst subject. I'm going to be starting on that shit. But like, I don't know. I think maybe like stimulating the follicles to some extent helped the development of it. Or it could literally just be the fact that like, my dad can grow a gnarly beard.
It's mostly genetics when it comes to beards.
Okay, so we just wasted like a minute and a half of me speaking out my ass. It's fine. But the thing is, my dad won't grow the beard now, and I kind of wish he would. But the thing is, it's all white now, so he's going to look like Santa. But I think that'd be kind of fun having Santa as my dad. That'd be fun.
Listen, the salt and pepper or the white beards are in. Like a lot of people like that. You know what I mean?
I did find gray hair in my beard the other day, and I was devastated a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. But
that was another reason why I cut the beard off too, because I had 4 or 5 really long hairs that were fucking gray.
Man.
Like, and it bothered me. The
we
wife
need
would
to
just be like,
capture our
"Oh,
youth
look."
for as long as we can, TJ, because it's all downhill from here.
I know.
All downhill.
It's fucking ridiculous. I'm just like, I don't need this, you know. But anyway, it's been funny. A lot of people thought I shaved it because, like, you know, like I'm getting married in a few months, so it's like, oh, you shaved it for the wedding. It's like, listen, don't fucking. There's a lot of really, like, I had this one fucking cat who he just like lit up a picture I put up with like 3 paragraphs of like, you know, don't let women control you with, and I was like, I literally, like, I deleted his comments and I messaged him and I said, dude, are you all right?
I love people
like,
so fucking
this was an older gentleman. Like, I was like, are you fucking all right?
For this stupid bullshit.
Like, and he just like talking about how like women think that men with beards are savages and all this stuff. And like,
because we are savages. Yes.
I'm not going to deny that. And you know, like ever since I shaved my beard off, I'm much more of a gentleman, but like, you know, whereas before, just like, anyway. So it's like, I was just like,
I do
dude,
get a little barbaric
right?
when I overgrow my beard. I do feel a little barbaric. And when I go to my barber, he looks at me like, what the fuck is this mangy animal you just brought me? I'm like,
my fucking barber, shouts to Paul at Henry's Barber here in Peterborough. Fucking, I walked in. Well, the reason he was pissed at me too is because the last time I saw him, I had short hair and I said, hey, my goal is to have an undercut again. And he was like, cool. So then I let my hair grow out for like 6 or 7 months and then basically realized that I didn't want an undercut. So he was like, so then why'd you let it grow? Because like my hair was getting long again. He was like, so why'd you let it grow out again? And I was like,
So you have a fade now? Because I go with the fades.
Yeah.
Shout out to my man Jamal at fucking United Cuts in London on King Street. Homeboy kills it. I do miss my Oshawa barber quite a lot. My man Fung over at Sheer Brilliance. I fucking miss Fung so goddamn much, and I always came out crisp with Fung. Jamal kills it. Don't get me wrong. Jamal kills the game. But me and Fung had a very special relationship.
Yeah, man, I miss.
Like, I don't think it was. Yeah. I think it was very one way. Like, I just absolutely adored him, and he just like he's a really good homie. But like I have his number and stuff, and we talk sometimes. But it's not the same as what me and Jamal have. And Jamal, you ever see us? I'm sorry. I love you. You're a killer kid. I think it's because you're still so new. We have to develop that relationship. Jamal. Fucking Fung was my barber for like 5 years. So, you know, there was a lot of time built there.
Yeah, that was like my man Rod out in Bowmanville, buddy. I fucking go to him all the time. And it was just, he just knew second I sat down, what's going on, you know? And
a relationship with a barber is so underappreciated, like having your own barber. And I encourage people, please go to actual barbershops and support more local business. Don't go to the fucking chains. Because the people at barbershops are going to make you look so much cleaner. And just fresh in the beards, and oh my god, get a straight razor. Come on,
there's nothing like a hot towel shave.
Oh,
there's not. I'm gonna go get one. That's another reason why I shaved my beard off, so I could get hot towel shaves.
That's like, hot towel shaves are pretty phenomenal.
It is, yeah. I forgot, like when he was doing it, I was like, I forgot how fucking amazing this is.
It's that's the thing. Men, here's the thing, and this is not me, because men can do exactly the same, but like a lot of men, we don't get like a lot of treatments, hypothetically, like go to spas and do all that kind of stuff. For a lot of us, the barber is that.
Yes.
And just that time where you don't have to think about anything, you don't have to worry about anything, you just get to sit back and enjoy an experience. Like that, I think that's the other reason why I love that, and I love getting tattoos. Because like tattoo, it's just I'm sitting, just chilling, not doing anything really for a few hours. Yeah, I'm getting stabbed in the arm with a bunch of ink, and my arm's bleeding, and I'm losing a lot of blood. But listen, it's the buzzing, and just it's a very chill experience. You get to put some good tunes on, maybe listen to a couple albums or whatever. Like it's like barber and tattoo, just two of the best life experiences you can have.
Definitely.
And a
so.
good barber too. So
Yeah.
go find a good barber.
There's nothing like just a great barber, a great tattoo artist, you know. And I think everyone has their stuff they like to do. Like, I mean, for me, this is my thing. You know, if I don't get to do this, like I didn't do a podcast recording 2 weeks ago for the first time in a while. And like people in my life noticed, you know, they were like, "Are you all right?" And I'm like, well, "What do you mean?" They're like, "You're like fucking agitated. What's going on?" And I'm like, "Nothing. I'm fine." And they're like, "You got all this like weird fucking energy. Like, what's going on? Like, what do you like, you know, how you get that like kind of like weird energy?"
Yeah.
You know, like that's why I always say like with my horror story writing and shit I do now, it's like, I take all that dark negative energy and I put it in a little ball and then I just release it. And if I don't do that at least once a week, I start, you know, I'm driving and someone cuts me off and I start fucking screaming at them. And it's like, "Yeah, stupid mother." Whereas now I still do that, but like then I'll go back to like what I was doing. Whereas before it would like ruin my whole fucking day, you know?
I would like to quickly apologize to the man in London on Highbury Avenue that I screamed at earlier today. And you know why? It's genuinely, I was thinking, as you were saying that, I'm like, because I have a run coming up with Mike from the Jailbirds, and we're doing a long weekend run. And I did my first rehearsal today for it at my work, because I get to use it for rehearsals, which is fucking fantastic. Shout out to them. It's after I did the rehearsal, I felt so relaxed. And even now, getting to do this and the phone call I had earlier, I feel so much more relaxed. So I quickly like to apologize to that, because I just realized when I don't get to do things like this or do things that like I get genuine enjoyment out of, like a pleasure of like a hobby or an activity or just any sort of thing you're working on, that feeling of, oh my God, I get to actually work on this right now, this thing I love working on, no matter like, or just playing a game, reading a book, writing, whatever. Oh my God, I get to do this for a little bit and just indulge and enjoy and just take advantage of this situation as much as I can to my benefit. It is the most phenomenal feeling out of anything in the world. And I'm sure that man is fine. My windows are rolled up. It's okay. He didn't hear me, but he was driving 20 and a 50, and it was pissing me off.
Oh God,
it's
that's
fine.
fantastic.
I forgive you.
Sometimes you just have to let out the demon, you know. But then put a cork on that sucker though, because you can't let go too much. But you just mentioned something that I want to go back to for a second. No, of course not. You need to save that shit. You mentioned something a minute ago about the place you work doing rehearsals. I wanted to make sure we talked about that a bit. So where's this new place you're working?
So here's the issue. I don't know how much I can talk, and I'm going to talk about it, but it's just, I got to be careful.
Whatever's on Facebook.
Yes.
Let's go with that.
If you have me on Facebook, you know, because I talk about it a lot on there. Here, it might be a little different because like some TikTok, I don't talk about what I do on TikTok just because that's a bigger audience, and Facebook's kind of people who know me. So if you're on Facebook, you know where I work, and I'm a marketing coordinator for. It's a music venue. I'll say that. I can say that. It's a music venue. I work with a music venue. Not which one, just a music venue. And first off, easily the best job I've ever had. Easily the best job I've ever had. Because I get to actually work in the industry I love, genuinely. Get paid a salary for it. And do the work I love. Because I absolutely love marketing. I hate social media. I love marketing. Marketing is always so great. And getting to work in a music venue that is it's a nonprofit organization that supports music and works. It has so many different programs. Like they have this program where they give instruments to kids and then run an after school program that actually teaches them how to use the instruments, play songs, music development, choirs to learn how to sing. Like this company is amazing in so many ways. And I'm genuinely extremely thankful to be a part of that, because I've been grinding. People who know me, I've been working in this industry for quite a long time now. This is my 10th year, 26. This year, like I technically started in 2012-ish, so that, or 2012, 2013, so that does make sense. Fuck me. And
10 years, frig.
and just being in this position now, like, don't get me wrong, I've had some great successes in the industry. I'm very proud of, and a lot of stuff I've done, and a lot of stuff I'm going to do, but I'm not going to talk about that. Yep, that's still down the line. But it's amazing to actually be paid a good salary, work at an amazing place with amazing people. I just want to shout out my boss Matt really quick. My boss is also named Matt, and it's great. I was about to say,
are you doing like a bit, or is it really?
No, the thing is, my boss is genuinely named Matt.
Matt,
and I think that's part of the reason why he hired me, just because it's hilarious having two Matts in the office. Everyone calls me like Matt Squared or Matt 2 or whatever. I don't care. It's funny because I'm the second one there.
Or dumbass, asshole, whatever. Whatever works.
Fuckface, whatever you want to call me. He genuinely is just the best boss I've ever had. He's so honest. He's so human with me. We have phenomenal conversations. We can laugh our asses off together. Like, I have such a great relationship with our team, but my boss, especially Matt, like, he's so supportive of everything I have going on. Like, he knows some of it. I don't disclose a lot of it because he's got too much shit on the go. He's not gonna give a fuck for most of it, and also I just don't want to bother him with anything. Like when I go do shows and stuff, like, he's very accommodating. He lets me have the time off and go support that, and I think it's because I work for a music organization. But yeah, no, I joined this company early December. So right after my girlfriend and I started seeing, literally a few weeks after, her and I made it official on the 19th of November. Let's see. I remember. I don't have to look it up that time. It's call back if you're still watching. But it's gotta do callbacks in the callbacks. It's a method. But literally a few weeks after her and I got together, and I'm just talking about her. She's asleep right now, and I don't know if she hears. I say this to her anyway. She is genuinely one of the most grounded, honest, authentic people I've ever met. She's so uniquely her in all the right ways. I've never been happier with someone, and I'm so thankful to have met her, and then to get this like dream job. It honestly is a dream job. Don't get me wrong. I'm stressed as shit constantly with this job. And like, one thing we did was, let me give you an example. So we had back in March, when it was a bit before. Yeah, I worked from home. I literally got hired, and 2 weeks later we went back into lockdown, and I worked from home for like 3 months, which is funny. We only just got back to the office like early March-ish, right before my birthday. And literally we had a Zoom call before we went back into the office. And the whole stuff in Ukraine, and I'm not going to get into all that, but just everything going on with that whole mess. And we were talking about doing how can we do something for like the support efforts or whatever. And so it was on a Zoom call. It was like really early in the morning. I felt early in the morning because I wasn't awake. And I remember just saying, why don't we just do a concert? Because we're a music venue and you can do shows. We're allowed, technically. But then the boss, the big boss, was like, no, we'll think about it. And then the Monday after, he was like, okay, so we're doing this. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, oh, we were doing it in 2 weeks. I'm like, what? Huh? What? We're organizing whole ass benefit concert in 2 weeks notice, and we got to do all the shit for it. But the thing is, like, we have such an amazing team in place. We did pull it all together. And we're able, but that's what I mean. My job's very in the moment, and a lot of things just kind of happen, which to be honest, I kind of love that because it just keeps me on my toes and keeps me sharp. Ish. Depends on the day. But I'm not going to lie. I can't gas myself that much because I know who I am. But I love being in that kind of chaotic, constantly moving thing. And yeah, just my life right now is, like I said, it's complete 180 from where I was last time we talked, and it's crazy how much can change in that little time. Like, I absolutely love this job. I love my relationship. We just moved into a new apartment, her and I. It's a 2-bedroom, so we have a bedroom, and I have an office space now, and I have setups to do streaming and go on Twitter. Like, I'm so genuinely, like, everything's kind of been coming up, and it's just been getting better and better. And I cannot wait to see where it goes. And like I said, though, if I end up having a shorter life or a longer life, I can look back and be like, yo, this period of my life was sick. It was so awesome. And I love everything that I have out at the moment that's coming out and stuff like that. But I also am things that like are going to be happening over the next year that I'm fucking stoked for. It's just I'm very happy where I am. And like I said, I haven't been this happy in 3 years. Genuinely, the last time I think I was that happy was 3 years ago, and that was 2019, 2018. Like, 3 years is a long time too. Because and legitimately, this is was my mind state in those 3 years. I literally didn't give a shit if I died for whatever reason. Like, I'd be like, whatever, life shit anyway, who cares? That's kind of just what my mentality was. Now I'm like, okay, life's actually kind of lit and can be lit. I now quickly like to apologize for using the word lit, but I just felt it was very appropriate for those incidents. And like I'm so thankful for life, but I'm also thankful for those struggles because they gave me that perspective to understand what I can have. And while I dread what I went through, especially over the past 3 years and everything, it's not even just pandemic related. It's a lot of personal shit too, and TJ knows most of it because I tell TJ. I divulge, but it's weird because it feels like because part of me is also like waiting for that like drop, like, oh, things are going great. When's it gonna get shit? But then I'm trying to just like, you know what? I'm having a great time right now. When the shit comes up, the shit comes up, and I'll deal with it as it comes. But I'm so happy I get to enjoy what I have right now.
And that's so fucking awesome to hear, man. Like, just with how everything is, and, you know, one of the things that's going right now is like, which is really the whole reason I wanted to have you on was, you know,
I suppose we should talk about it, you know, an hour
probably,
and 9 minutes.
As we're wrapping up here, we'll obviously make sure we talk about it. Is you just dropped a single like that a week ago, 27, and dude, like, it's fucking amazing. Like, it's a beautifully written song, but on top of that, melody wise, instrumentation wise, it's a really catchy, hooky, beautiful fucking song, man. I absolutely love it. It's, to be honest with you, it's been stuck in my fucking head since I heard it.
Yes, that's the goal.
I did it.
But so here's the thing with 27. That wasn't going to be the single at all, to be honest with you. I was probably just I was planning on doing just a more polished studio version of my song "Canary in the Mine." That was the plan for a bit, but then I don't know. My life went through all these fucking changes, and everything's kind of happened. And I wrote that song about a year and a bit ago, and I just kind of sat on it. Like, I have this song. I could maybe do something with it, I could maybe not, whatever. The plan's to do this other song. But then all that life shit happened, and I kind of just sat down and I was like, okay, I kind of want a clean slate. Because in a way, it's a clean slate. Like, the song's still out and people still like that song, but that song's out. People know that song. I want a clean slate, clean start. I wanted to release something on like Spotify and all that kind of stuff. And a huge reason for that, and I'll give them credit if any of them end up watching this, is the TikTok people. Like, a lot of my followers on TikTok were pushing me to do this, to put out the song. Because one of the things I do on TikTok Live is I'll go on and play my guitar and sing, because I'm practicing, which I know I should be doing more, but it's, you know, life and shit. But then the other thing is, it's a way to create content and engage with my audience and play songs they want to hear. I take requests on there all the time, and I just do random songs just for fun. Because stay sharp, have fun, engage with people. And I was getting a lot of pressure from that community, and I decided, you know what, fuck it, let's move this up ahead. Because to be honest with you, I wasn't going to release 27 until like the end of the year. I was planning that to be kind of my end of the year project. But yeah, I don't know, just early, and after I started the job at the music venue and all that kind of stuff, I decided, I'm like, okay, I'm making a bit of money. I'm putting some money away. I'm paying off debts. It's cool. Let me look into this, because I was able to do music, but I was also able not to do music in the past 3 years, especially because of life circumstance. Nothing specific. Literally just there was so much going on. And I I had this deal with myself for a long time where I didn't want to do this until I felt like I could take a real shot at it. Because I only have so much time on this earth and I want to be able to do so many things. Music isn't my priority, I'm not going to lie. It just isn't anymore because there's so many other things in my life going on, they're all positive. It's kind of like the podcast as well, which I'll acknowledge quickly. I'm not doing as frequent episodes on there. I'm kind of being more selective with episodes and certain things. And it's just because I have so much going on and I wish I could do more. And hopefully as time goes on, things develop, I'll be able to do more. That's the plan. But it's not the priority right now for me. I've been rebuilding my life slowly and steadily. I'm still not there. I'm not going to lie. The past chunk of years, pretty much almost essentially started when I moved to Oshawa. It was funny how Oshawa destroyed me. Never go to Oshawa. It's cursed. I'm kidding. I love Oshawa. But it's...
Such Oshawa.
This song I was at this place in my life and I just felt, okay, I need to do this. Because fuck it, why not? I want to release for the TikTok people. And because they were so supportive of me doing music and wanting to hear me do music, because TikTok has some great artists and music and some not, but that's all subjective. Music is completely subjective. You can listen to whatever you want. I don't give a shit. And you should listen to my song. Link in the description. It's in the link in the description, right?
Yes.
Okay. Link in the description.
It is now.
That's how you get your way, people. Always wedge it in when you can. But it's I don't know. That song, it came at a weird time. And this is the song. Okay, let me explain what I love explaining what song meanings are. And from the last conversation we had, I love going like deep on this kind of shit. 27. The last lyrics of the song are to look past 27 and find a present heaven that will satisfy. That in the kind of like the gang vocals, and if you've heard the song, you kind of know what I mean. It's, if not, like a description, but last time I promise. And that lyric is, I joke in these weird times when I'm about to say some heavy shit, and I'm going to warn you guys now, it's very heavy shit. So if you're sensitive to certain things, I'm giving you a warning. It's genuine. It's me being genuine. It sounds like I'm joking getting away, but I'm kind of not. I had a plan when I was 25 that if I felt my life wasn't in a better position, or if certain things or whatever it is, I had a certain list of things. If I was 27, I felt like I wasn't happy with everything. I was just gonna end it. Genuinely. And I'm not afraid to talk about this shit because I'd rather just be authentic and honest with people about where I am mentally and stuff. So I apologize if it's triggering, but it's something I just want to say. That's kind of where my life was. Like by this age, if I hit 27 and I'm still not happy, yeah. So I wanted that to be the song because in a way for me, it's kind of closing that chapter of my life in a way, because now I feel just I'm a lot happier and there's a lot more positive things going on, and I'm able to steer my life more in the direction I want to go. And I'm happy that song kind of was my major streaming debut, because it's one of the most honest songs I've ever written, genuinely, because it literally talks about the shit I was dealing with in a blatant way. I wasn't hiding behind any similes or analogies or anything like another shot, another joint, another light, another point. Like, literally, I was drinking so much, dude, during the pandemic. I drank so much alcohol. I genuinely had a problem. I felt like, and I've had issues with alcohol before, so that's why I'm very much limited of what I do now, because I'm trying to take care of myself way better now than I was before. Because before it's like, oh, I'm taking care of myself, but it's like I'm still treating my body like shit. Now I'm genuinely caring. It's another shot. We were talking about it earlier. I had a bunch of hell shit just earlier this year because of my relationships with cannabis and that kind of stuff. And another light was literally just the little moments in life where I see enough to keep me going. Like they were very few and far between, but when they were there, they were there. And another justification to subside my mind, which was me constantly just coaxing myself in a way. And the way I was coaxing myself was generally, well, you're going to die at some point anyway, who cares? And that's not the way I look at life now, and that's not the way I should look at life. Because like I said, I keep going back to this guy, keep talking about it, and I know it's getting old, but I'm here, I want to enjoy it, I need to enjoy it, and I was glad I was able to create a song that's so fucking heavy in content, but it's catchy enough that it gets stuck inside your head, and I think that's the goal of music. Listen to this depressing ass happy song.
Well, and the thing is too is like
that was a roller coaster. Like, I apologize. Oh my God.
No, like and you know, like I knew from the lyrical content that I'm okay. Like I know there's some heaviness here, you know, and I mean I'm as someone who is, you know, not only just a fan of your work, but also cares about you because you're my buddy. Like, you know, I'm happy to hear that you're, you know, in a better place and that you're looking at this as like, this is kind of you closing the chapter on that line of thinking. And like, as we get older in life, there's things that we can leave behind. And sometimes something as simple as being so fixated on something, you know, and that's something that I think as we get older, the notion of, you know, some people are like, oh, well, one day I'll be able to give myself the happiness I want, you know? And it's like, well, you need to be able to give yourself that happiness now, because 5 years from now, 10 years from now, it's not going to fucking matter. If you're miserable now and you're not doing things in your life now that make you happy, and that doing things to like, oh, well, you know, I'll quit drinking all this alcohol like tomorrow. It's like, well, no, stop doing that today, because if you know that, okay, hey, I think I maybe got a problem. It's like, hey, that's okay. You know, you're allowed to have a problem, and you're allowed to, you know, need to maybe leave that behind. And I think it's very brave to be able to admit that, and to be able to look back at this and say, hey, like this is where I was at, and it's a very real thing, and it's a very sure, yeah, it's a dark thing, but it's like, again, you can look back and go, hey, I'm closing that chapter. And I think in itself, it's a really heavy subject matter, but it's still, there's beauty there too, you know?
Yeah, there is an expression, you can find beauty in the darkest places. And while no matter what, my music is always going to have that aspect of me kind of pouring my soul out into it in a way, just like releasing what I'm dealing with. Because, and I've thought about this, and this is a big reason why I do it, is because so many people find it so hard to find any sort of genuine, like authentic connection nowadays, especially with everything, because it's just overstimulated. We're overstimulated as people. There's so much going on in terms of life and struggle and media and everything. We're dealing with so much. And if I'm able to take a piece of content like 27 and put it out, and I'll bring this up because I've had people message me saying, I completely understand where you're coming from. I was in the same boat, or I am in the same boat. And there's something almost comforting in a way where you're able to connect with people that are also struggling, and that are brave enough to come forward and say, hey, listen, I'm struggling, or I was struggling. I get it. And I appreciate what this did for me. And for me, it makes me feel good knowing that I'm also not alone in all this, because it's not just me that's struggling. Everybody has their own struggle they're dealing with. the fact that I'm able to connect with people who have taken the time to listen to the song, and I want to say this quickly, genuinely thank you to everyone who checked out the song, because I had such a low bar expectation for this song. Like, and bring up a quick point you brought up earlier about the TikTok crossover stuff. Like, I'm not getting huge numbers on my song. I'm not. But my expectation was literally like 0 or next to 0, because I have no expectation, and I don't like setting expectations for stuff like that, especially for a first song. It literally like quadrupled what I expected of it. And it blew me away, because I was like, holy shit. People actually listened to this song and actually connected with the song. And so many people reached out to tell me they get it. Because we're not alone in all this. Like I said earlier, none of us chose to fucking be here. And life is fucking hard. It's a day by day thing, genuinely. But there is comfort in knowing that we're not alone in this. And I know some people might think that comes across as cocky, like, oh, you're talking about how your song connects people and makes people see things. No, I'm just happy I was able to create a piece of content that allowed people to stop and think about their own lives for a second. Because more people need to do that and check in on yourself. Because if you can't function, if you can't live, you have to be able to look at yourself in some extent and ask, why? What's going on? And I know for some people it's fucking tough to do that, because life circumstances or your own issues or whatever it is. But if there's any possible way you can take 10 to 15 to 30 seconds to just check on yourself quick, that's how it starts. And then the more you think about it, the more you want to learn more about figuring it out and all these things. And it's a stepping stone process.
And
but
if
being
you can,
able to, oh, sorry, you
go ahead.
It was just to be able to check on your own shit is so important, because you just need to, in order to function on a day-to-day basis, especially dealing with all the shit we have to deal with right now, you need to be able to say, yo, am I good? Should I take the next hour or two and just chill out and do nothing and just think? Should I just go watch a movie to take myself away from it? Should I go read a book? Should I go play a video game? Like, use your tools around you that you have to help you deal with life, but don't forget to just take a second to check on yourself. Be like, yo, am I good? It's not hard.
It's super important. And I think that if you look inwards and you realize that, hey, maybe I need some help too, that's a really brave thing. And there's a lot of, there's a lot of people that are struggling out there who maybe don't have the courage to admit that. And I think that's one of the bravest things and strongest things you can do as a fucking person, to regardless of what it is. If you're,
don't do it for yourself. Don't do it for others. Do it for yourself. Genuinely.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's
one of the bravest.
Thing.
It's also one of the bravest things you can do, and never feel like you are a coward for doing that. It's the bravest fucking thing you can do, to be as honest with yourself as you can. Yeah.
Definitely so. And I mean, I think a lot of this, it all really does tie in a lot. And I mean, I'll say it too, where it's like a song like 27, really with the message behind it and how accessible of a song it is for people who are, fans of kind of like the top 40 pop stuff, fans of rock, fans of acoustic stuff. Like, I think there's so much crossover here, and with the content itself, there's so much going on here with how people can connect to a song like this. And, yes, it helps that it's a great, catchy song, but at the same time, the message behind it really, I think, is what is so special about it, and why I think it struck a chord with people thus far.
I appreciate you saying that. And I think honestly, one of the biggest things for me when I write, especially, is the reason kind of why it's aimed more towards a poppier kind of direction than a lot of other stuff I've done is, part of the reason is because in a lot of music nowadays, I'm not going to name any genre or any people specifically, there's genuinely a lack of authenticity in music today. Like in a lot of popular music, there's just and I'm not even going to say, oh, it's because it's rooms of writers or it's just people aiming to get at your wallet or whatever it is. That's fine. Do what the fuck you want to do. Make your money, get your bread. I get it. But I think in a way, it's up to people like artists, and that could be visual artists, performing artists, musical artists, whatever it is. I think there's a responsibility almost in a way to kind of be honest with people and be like, listen, my life's not fucking perfect. I got all these struggles too. And to be able to take your time or take the time to write something. But the thing is, a lot of artists, a lot of people in general just aren't, how can I say this without sounding cocky? The thing is, like, I recognize me putting out this kind of song is brave and all that, but a lot of artists can't do that. And a huge part of it is, like, the corporations, they want to focus on things that happy and people living best lives and whatever, drinking or whatever you want to write about. That's great, and those songs, a lot of those songs are catchy, they're fun, they slap, whatever you want to do. I like some pop stuff, but I think there just needs to be more of a sense of authenticity, and that's like why I'm thankful for the podcast, because like I get to talk to like some of the most genuine, authentic people that have had some big fucking successes, and to talk to them in a way where I'm talking to them not as a media person, but as a human being. It just shows you we're all the fucking same. And that's why like my conversations on the podcast and conversations like this go the way they go, because I want to talk about the real shit. I don't want to pretend life is all unicorns and rainbows. Like I want to talk about the industry. I want to talk about the issues with the industry, because the industry has a mile-long list, but so does every industry. And then you get into a whole bigger issue of society, and it's all these things. It's like, some people can't deal with reality, what reality actually is, and I completely understand that, and it's a difficult thing to deal with. But you could be so much more free, and you could also help so many fucking people. Don't get me wrong, there are some songs that artists put out to support and do all these things. Some of them can come across as commercially and, you know, for attention and media or whatever, and that's completely fine. But I don't know, I just kind of have this attitude of everything I do, just like, this is genuinely who the fuck I am. I don't care how many plays I get. I don't care to have the biggest TikTok account or have the biggest social media or have any of that shit. I just don't fucking care, because life is so precious, and I want to be able just to enjoy it to the biggest degree I can. But artists need to step up and be honest with their people, because that giving someone the ability to actually have perspective is such an important thing. And it's such an important, because if everyone thought with a bit more perspective and more of a worldly kind of view, as opposed to like, you know, to the tip of their nose, the world would just be a better place, honestly. Because life is such a beautiful thing. It's also the worst thing, but it's also the most beautiful thing. You got to enjoy it while you have it, because you might not have it tomorrow. Live every day like it's your last, man.
That's it, man. And I mean, I think that's a really nice place to end off here. I would love to be able to now share 27 with the people who haven't heard it yet here on the show before we leave. So Matt, it is always a pleasure. We covered a whole ton of ground today, had some laughs, had some deep talks. It's always a pleasure getting to chat with you, man.
Dude, no, I appreciate being able to talk to someone like you. And that's why I was so looking forward to this conversation all day, because I knew what this was going to be, and it was just going to be a huge chaotic mess, a huge 91-minute chaotic mess that some people are going to listen to. And if you've made it this far, you deserve some sort of medal, because I can ramble out my ass, and I talk a lot of shit. So, but so do you, and that's why you and I get along so goddamn well.
We had a 15 minutes in, we were talking about Eastside Mariners, for God's sake. So, I mean, you know, whatever.
I still stand by that. Fuck you, Eastside Mariners.
Yeah, fuck Eastside Mariners.
Your damn dishes. Your damn fucking dishes. Who the fuck do you think you are? Disgusting.
Oh, fuck. All right. Right now, on the Harder Show, MattLayn. Matt, thanks so very much, man. This is his brand new single, 27, Let's check it out. Matt, thanks so much, man.
Thanks, man.
Hey ma, it's been a few years since the last one I wrote. Time really flies, where do the years go? The world's gone to shit and every single part of it makes me miss you more. All the while my sanity falls through the floor. Help me, give me a sign, show me a reason to stay alive. Help me, give me a sign, show me a reason to stay alive. Hey mom, I'm getting real shaky, I'm not gonna lie. My endless battle with sobriety ain't stopping tonight. Another shot, another joint, another light, another point, another justification to convince my mind. Once it's over, I'll get my act right. Help me, give me a sign, show me a reason to stay alive. Help me, give me a sign, show me a reason to stay alive. Help me. So look past 27 and find a present heaven that will satisfy. So look past 27 and find a present heaven that will satisfy. So look past 27 and find a present heaven that will satisfy. Help me, give me a sign. Help me, give me a sign.
All right, folks, there you have it. My chat with MattLayn. Always a pleasure getting to chat with him. We had a lot of fun in that episode and really covered some really great content as far as talking about the mental health struggles and things of that nature. Definitely not stuff that I talk about a lot here on the show, but it's something that I really truly think is a conversation that needs to be had. And I was so thrilled that Matt was willing to go into such detail about the real true meaning behind 27 and his own struggles. And I'm so happy for my friend that he is doing just fantastic with life now and how happy he is. And it's just wonderful to see. And I'm so honored to be able to give him that little bit of cathartic release on this episode. And I hope that you guys enjoyed it as much as I did getting to be a part of that conversation. Go check him out. I'll have some links down below. Matt deserves your support because he is a fantastic musician and podcaster. We didn't really talk a lot about the podcast and what he's been doing, but go check it out. It is fantastic. A chat with Matt. Matt deserves your support. So go check out my buddy and let him know that your boy Hodder sent you, because he'll probably give you a thumbs up and be like, oh, that's awesome. Thanks for coming. And thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Leave a like if you can. Comment. Leave a rating. Ratings help this show grow, especially 5-star ratings. It helps this show be able to be found by more people so they can discover fantastic musicians like MattLayn. And if you would maybe like to go a step further in helping to support this podcast, consider becoming a hothead and joining the Hodder Show Patreon. Patreon.com/The Hodder Show. We have 3 different tiers that you can join, all with their own unique rewards. I have a podcast that I'm doing on there now exclusively on the Patreon for the $5 and above tiers. I am having so much fun with it. and I cannot wait to drop the next episode. As I am recording this, I'm also finishing up that episode, so I can't wait for that. A lot of cool stuff going on there. And on top of unique content, live stream content, things of that nature, you also get personalized shoutouts on every single episode of the show, regardless of what tier you are on. So I would like to take a second to give a humongous shout out to all of my Patreon supporters. We, of course, have the OG Patreon supporter, my buddy, Mr. Scotty D. Scott, thank you so very much for all your support, my friend. You know how much I love you and how much I appreciate your patronage. He is literally one of the OGs here on the Hotter Show Patreon. Even when I first launched it back in the day before this kind of relaunch and rebrand for the Patreon, he was a part of it. So Scott, thank you so very much. And I owe you a big old bear hug next time I see you, and also a coffee. So let's make that happen soon. A humongous shout out to the Grey Rooms team. If you guys listen to my show regularly, you know how much I love the Grey Rooms. Not only is it my favorite podcast, and it was before the Grey Rooms team became patrons, but also they are just fantastic people that deserve your support. The Grey Rooms is a horror anthology audio drama podcast that is nearing the end of their 4th season. And let me tell you, it is just the sound design, the stories that they have, the acting. It is top notch, and in my opinion, it is the best audio drama in the world. So go check out the Grey Rooms, and thank you so very much to Jason and Brooks and Cassie and everyone over at the Grey Rooms team for all of their support of this podcast. And a humongous shout out to the new kid on the block, Mr. Ronan Komori, for being a patron. Ronan, thank you so very much. I seriously appreciate it. We're going to see Ronan come on the podcast at some point to do a little chat with me about some albums that made him, and I cannot wait for that. And I seriously appreciate your patronage. And he also got to check out the first episode of that exclusive Patreon podcast and said that he really enjoyed it. So what are you waiting for? Get a shout out every single week, help this show grow, get exclusive content like my special Patreon podcast that I'm having so much fun creating for you guys. And who knows what can happen. I have a new goal that I've set, and once I hit that goal, I'm going to be getting some merchy type stuff going. And from there, who knows what else could happen with goals. As that Patreon grows, I am able to do more stuff. So even joining at the $1 tier, less than a cup of coffee, check it out, patreon.com/The Hotter Show. Thank you so very much for listening, especially if you are still listening. You are the best. You deserve the patented, exclusive Hotter Show audio fist bump. Because only I will fist bump a microphone and make a crazy popping sound. Because that is just how we do things here on The Hotter Show. Thanks so very much again for tuning in, and I'll catch you next time right here. Same bat time, same bat channel on The Hotter Show. Take it easy, guys.